At the start of the movie, Adrian, a young woman on the run after stealing drugs from two dealers, desperately searches for a place to hide. She stumbles upon an old abandoned factory, one that has been shut down for years due to a horrifying past. Locals believe it's haunted and no one dares to go near it. But Adrian has no choice. She breaks the lock and slips inside. The factory's name? Anchor Bay Canning, once used to pack spinach, the same kind that gave Popeye his legendary strength in the cartoons. And just like the logo, Popeye himself seems to be lurking in the shadows. The two thugs chasing Adrian follow her inside. One of them hesitates, sensing danger, but his partner drags him along. Unbeknownst to them, something monstrous is waiting. After a frantic chase, they finally corner Adrian, only for an empty spinach can to roll out of the darkness. Someone has already devoured its contents. Before they can react, Popeye emerges, his muscles bulging. One thug tries to threaten him, but Popeye yanks him into the darkness, twisting his body so violently that his insides spill out. Seeing this, the second thug panics. Grabbing Adrian, he holds a knife to her throat, thinking it might save him. It doesn't. Popeye simply grabs his wrist, snapping it like a twig. A moment later, he crushes the thug's skull like a watermelon. Adrian, now free but terrified, stares at the creature before her. "You're a monster," she whispers. Popeye smirks. Then, without warning, he lunges at her. Screams echo. The title card flashes. One thing is clear. This movie is going to be brutal. We then meet Dexter, a college student planning to enter the same factory that very night. His goal? To make a documentary on the urban legend of Popeye, aka the Sailor Man. Joining him are Olivia, his crush, whom he's never confessed to, and three friends, Lisa, Seth, and Katie. Meanwhile, the factory's owner, Lex, arrives with Margot, a real estate agent. Lex plans to sell the place, and Margot has found a buyer who intends to demolish it. Lex doesn't care. It's been abandoned for 20 years, and he just wants some cash. However, Margot has her doubts. The factory shut down after a damning contamination report 2 decades ago. If that report was false, as Lex claims, why wasn't the factory ever reopened? Could the rumors be true? Their conversation is interrupted by a strange smell, pipe smoke, the same kind Popeye is known for. Moments later, Margot feels an eerie presence watching her. Heavy footsteps echo. Panic sets in. She runs blindly, crashing into Lex, who calms her down, saying it's just Angus, the security guard. Shaken, Margot leaves, forgetting important documents inside. Lex, unfazed, orders Angus to clean up the factory. If anyone's hiding inside, they need to be dealt with before the deal is sealed. Alone, Angus roams the factory. A towering, burly man, he fears no one. But that changes when he stumbles upon the mutilated corpses of the two thugs. Before he can process it, Popeye steps out of the shadows, his forearms bulging, his presence monstrous. Angus fights back, but it's useless. Popeye overpowers him effortlessly, slamming him to the ground. Then, with a single devastating kick, he crushes Angus's skull, splattering the floor with blood. The cleanup has begun, but not the way Lex intended. Meanwhile, Olivia and Dexter arrive at the bar to pick up Katie, who works there. As they step in, they notice the bartender throwing out a man, Wimpy, Popeye's old friend. The three start talking about the legend of Sailor Man, but Katie dismisses it as nonsense. An old man sitting nearby suddenly interrupts. He warns them to stay away from the factory, claiming that the Sailor Man still roams there, waiting for his lost love to return. But like in every slasher story, the young never take old warnings seriously, and later they end up dead. Katie, Olivia, and Dexter head toward the abandoned factory, where Lisa and Seth are already waiting. As Olivia glances at a window, she spots a shadowy figure standing there. Popeye, but in a blink, he's gone. The factory doors are locked, but that's no problem. Olivia cracks the lock open in seconds, suspiciously skilled at it. Something feels off. If everyone who entered is either inside or dead, who locked the door from the outside? Popeye is still in there, which means someone else had to be outside. Inside, Katie's phone rings. It's Joey, her abusive boyfriend. She ignores the call, making him even more restless. His friends provoke him further, insisting they need to catch Katie and Dexter together. Fueled by jealousy and anger, Joey grabs a gun and heads straight for the factory. Inside, the group does the worst thing possible in a haunted place. They split up. Lisa and Seth take one path, Olivia and Dexter another, while Katie stays back to monitor the cameras. Lisa and Seth start noticing strange things. Every time they throw away an empty spinach can, it rolls right back to them. The legend of the Sailor Man starts to feel terrifyingly real. But then, they realize pigeons have been knocking the cans back. They laugh it off, until they sense someone watching them. Popeye has been silently following them all along. Meanwhile, Olivia and Dexter unknowingly exit through another pathway, proving that Popeye himself had locked the main entrance. He's in control of the entire place. As Dexter sets up cameras, Katie fails to notice him appearing on the monitor, too distracted by her phone. Elsewhere, Margot returns to grab some important papers, but stumbles upon something horrifying. Aang's mutilated corpse. Panic sets in. And then, Popeye appears. She runs, managing to lock herself in a room. But just as she shuts the door, Popeye grabs her by the hair. His grip is inhumanly strong. With a single yank, he rips off not just her hair, but her entire scalp. Before she can even react, he picks her up, shoves her into an industrial machine, and crushes her into pulp. Meanwhile, Olivia and Dexter make a disturbing discovery: confidential reports hidden inside a locked drawer. The factory's spinach supply was contaminated with bacteria. It was unfit for consumption. But the news was covered up because Lexi, the town's owner, controls everything. The truth never made it out. Dexter realizes this could expose everything, but before they can process it, Lisa and Seth rejoin them. Together, they move forward, only to find a chilling poem written across the factory walls, a warning about Popeye. At that moment, Joey and his friends storm into the factory, armed and ready. And Popeye? He's already watching everything through the monitors. The second Katie spots him, terror takes over. Now there's no doubt left. The old man at the bar was right all along. Katie ran in panic, straight into Joey, who was already furious. Without a second thought, he smashed her phone. But before he could do anything more, Popeye appeared. Blinded by rage, Joey orders Jesse to stab Popeye in the chest. The knife sinks deep, but Popeye doesn't even flinch. Instead, he retaliates in the most brutal way imaginable, gouging out Jesse's eyes before twisting his neck until it snaps. Terry, terrified, tried to shoot Popeye. But just like Jesse, he didn't stand a chance. Popeye grabbed his arm and twisted it so hard that the bone shattered instantly. Realizing he's doomed, Terry turns and runs. Joey, now terrified and confused, follows suit, abandoning Katie to her fate. But Popeye lets Katie live. Without a word, he simply walks away. Meanwhile, Terry locked the factory doors from the outside and jumped into his car, desperate to escape. But no matter how hard he pressed the accelerator, the car wouldn't move, because Popeye was holding it, lifting it off the ground with his bare hands. Seeing the impossible happen, Terry bolted out of the car. As he ran, his foot landed on a massive nail that went straight through his foot. Screaming in pain, he somehow made it to the docks, only to be met by Popeye, holding an anchor. With one swing, Popeye hooked the anchor around Terry's neck and yanked. The force was brutal. Terry's body dangled lifelessly, but Popeye wasn't done. He kept pulling until the head tore clean off. Back inside, Joey, now armed with a gun, was searching for an escape. But in his panic, he heard footsteps and fired without looking. The bullet hit Katie. As she collapsed, Popeye appeared. Joey, horrified, fled once again, leaving Katie behind for the second time. Meanwhile, Olivia, Dexter, Seth, and Lisa were desperately trying to find a way out. But the main door was locked from the outside, and they had no idea about the secret exits. Worse, Popeye was hunting them, watching their every move. Terrified, Seth and Lisa ran toward the roof, but in the chaos, Seth lost his footing and fell. He wasn't seriously injured, but his foot got caught in a net. As he struggled to free himself, the net shook, causing a pile of rusted tools above to come crashing down. One of them, a pair of shears, plunged straight into his body. He died instantly, right in front of Lisa. Lisa ran for her life, but Popeye was faster. Desperate, she turned back, only to trip and fall. She plummeted from the upper floor, landing right on Seth's corpse. A gruesome reunion. Meanwhile, Olivia and Dexter discovered Popeye's secret room. Inside, they found old photographs of him, his wife Olive Oil, and their daughter. There were also childhood toys, including a stuffed doll, now covered in dust. Then, they noticed something chilling, a stack of newspaper clippings. That's when they realized the truth. Olive Oil had worked in this very factory. She was the one who exposed the contaminated Spinach scandal, which forced the factory to shut down, but soon after, she went missing. Lex, the town's corrupt leader, had likely kidnapped or killed her. And Popeye? He never stopped searching for her. He stayed in the factory, surviving only on the infected spinach. Over time, it mutated his body, turning him into the deformed, monstrous figure he had become. Now, Olivia and Dexter had to escape, but all they found were the corpses of Lisa and Seth. Before they could react, Popeye appeared. He grabbed Dexter, lifted him off the ground, and snapped his arm like a twig. He was about to do something even worse until Olivia spoke. Let him go. To everyone's shock, Popeye obeyed, because Olivia was his daughter. She had returned to the factory for one reason, to find the truth about her mother. Father and daughter stood face to face, about to reunite after years of separation. But before they could embrace, a gunshot rang out. Joey had shot Popeye. The moment was shattered. Enraged, Popeye hurled Joey across the room, slamming him against the wall. But even that wasn't enough to stop Joey. He grabbed Olivia, using her as a shield. That was his final mistake. Popeye ripped Joey's arm clean off. And then, using the same severed arm, he beat Joey to death with it. As soon as they stepped outside, they found Katie. When the police arrived, Olivia spun a different story, claiming a deranged man was behind all of this and had escaped. Meanwhile, Popeye watched them from inside, knowing Olivia would return to him. This leaves the door open for a sequel. Sometime later, Lex re-entered the factory, unaware that the deal was already off. That was his biggest mistake. Popeye wasted no time, delivered his signature line, and finished him off.
Please
And with
like,
that,
share, and
the movie
subscribe
ends.
our channel.